Thank you. I want to talk a little bit about MAGA and MAHA. I think we're on the verge and are seeing one of the most significant realignments in American politics in American history. I think there's a lot of organizations, a lot of people in this room who 4 to 8 years ago would have thought it was crazy to vote for President Trump. And I think many of those same people in 2024 felt like their vote for President Trump was the most important vote of their life. And I think this is very real. And I think as power is being assumed, as President Trump stands with Secretary Kennedy, Jay Bhattacharya, Martin McCary, Dr. Oz, and gave the most powerful statement in the history of the US presidency against the pharmaceutical lobbyists this week with the pharmaceutical drug pricing announcement. I think as Secretary Kennedy clearly is solidifying support, is working hand in hand across the administration, having productive conversations with Lee Zeldin at the EPA, with Brooke Rollins, in lockstep with them. It's inspiring to see how deeply across government officials have taken to heart this mandate from MAHA moms to investigate the root cause of disease. I think as the wins start stacking up, and they will be stacking up at an increasing pace, I can tell you that. There's going to be energy around this town or around the country to divide the MAGA and the MAHA movement, but it's not going to happen. And I think what this group needs to do, what we all need to do, is realize that if we can solidify this dynamic where the gender gap closed, because for whatever reason the Democrats have abdicated the issue of children's health, for whatever reason Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren castigated Secretary Kennedy at the hearing for having the tenacity to question pharma companies, for whatever reason the Democrats have abdicated the issue of questioning the pharmaceutical industry, have abdicated the issue of protecting kids. You've had Democrats strongly be supportive of SNAP funding for soda in the past year. The Trump derangement syndrome has led the Democrats to really abandon core pillars of children's health that they used to stand for. So for whatever reason, we've galvanized a movement here of moms, of independence, of young people. We've transformed the electoral map, and I think this is a very positive development. And I just want to talk a little bit about what I've seen of why that is. And I always go back to, really what I felt was beautiful conversations between President Trump and Secretary Kennedy after Secretary called President Trump hours after being shot in the face. And they talked about the problem. And I think making this argument, all of us making the argument and winning this argument and getting majority in the argument of what the problem is so crucial in the next 2 years. What the problem is that we're the sickest country in the world. And to the media and to everyone, and there's a lot of cynicism, like this is real, and they talked about this for hours and hours and hours. Today, just today, there's going to be 3,201 kids that get prediabetes. We have 50% of kids overweight or obese. It's about 3% in Japan. There's 212 countries that measure cancer rates, and we have the highest cancer rates of any country in the world and the highest rates of pediatric cancer. As President Trump shows on the graph, he held it to Joe Rogan many times, we're 3 to 4 times more on our healthcare spending per capita, 3 times more than any country in the world, and live 7, 8, 9, even 10 years less than other countries. That's a problem we need to assert, because as Democrats say, oh, no, the only thing that's standing between us and better health is more Medicaid spending. The only thing standing between us and better health is helping the system more, is putting more money, more bureaucrats into the system. That's just wrong. The problem is the system itself. And why this is happening, and this is simple, this is nonpartisan, this should not be controversial, and this is the adult conversation that this administration is going to have. Why is it happening? It's happening because our beautiful children, their cells are being poisoned. And they're being poisoned through areas that there's not even that much scientific disagreement on and that are obvious. We've gone from 0% of a child's diet being ultra-processed food to today, it's 70%. That ultra-processed food is comprised of 3 ingredients primarily that did not exist 120 years ago: Refined grains 120 years ago did not exist. It's a frankenfood. You take the fiber off, it takes out all the nutrients. It's basically a sugar bomb, and that's the chief source of children's calories today. Of course, you have added sugar, which has exploded. Refined sugar essentially didn't exist generations ago. Now it's absolutely loaded. And it's made of seed oils, and there's a lot of debate about seed oils. We were called conspiracy theorists for talking about seed oils. Seed oils didn't exist 100 years ago. Now it's the top source of American fat. 100 years ago, almost 100% of our fat source was animal-based. Today, almost 80% of it is seed oils. Seed oils are heated up toxic sludge that's put in rust remover, that's put in bleach, and has 8 other process steps to make it. We don't know, we don't have full science on it, but it's certainly an area of inquiry, an area that we should have thinking about whether these processed ingredients, added sugar, refined grains, and seed oils, being the core part of our children's diet in just one generation. Obviously, it's because of sedentary behavior, because of our children's sleep. We're getting 2 hours less sleep for a kid than they did just 2 generations ago. Kids get less time outdoors in an average public school than a maximum security prison. We're so sedentary that 77% of our military-aged youth aren't eligible to join the military because of a chronic condition or a mental health condition. Obviously, it's because of environmental toxins. We produce and ingest 25% of the world's pesticides. The leading herbicides and pesticides that we use in the United States, many of them are phased out or banned in every other country in the world. Now, I want to be clear about how I'm seeing conversations on this. There is a difference between discussing obvious reality and policy. What I think is so unique about the MAGA MAHA movement is we talk about these things and talk about the dramatic overprescriptions among kids. The fact that SSRI rates have gone up 600% among teenage girls in the past 5 years. Talking about the fact, is it a dynamic that we've gone from 1 injection in 1980 for a person in the first year of life to 30? Is it a dynamic that 18% of teenagers are on a stimulant? Is it a dynamic that 35% of teens are on a pharmaceutical product? Do these make people healthier? What the administration's doing, and what is so inspiring, and I think we all need to support President Trump and Bobby Kennedy on, is they're laying this baseline of truth. I think a lot of the next 2 years is winning this argument. If we can win this argument, we are on the precipice of a radical change. And there's a big difference between talking about these dynamics and then policy. This report coming out on the 22nd is a scientific assessment. It's a statement of what's happening. It's a statement of these unimpeachable facts. Then we get to policy. And when it comes to things like regulatory action on pesticides, we don't want a European nanny-state system. The Republican Party, the MAGA party, is the party of Elon Musk. Elon Musk saw a problem with environmentalism. He didn't ask for a bunch of regulations. He innovated a company. He created a company in the free market to solve that issue. And I do think we're on the precipice now of being able to have an adult conversation about the facts. And it's shocking. It's shocking to me how many lobbyists come in, and they're not lobbying for policy. They're saying it's going to scare the American people to get facts out. They're putting so much pressure on President Trump, so much pressure on Secretary Kennedy to not release facts, about these foundational factors that are impacting our metabolic health. The statement from the administration is, we are going to have a discussion about facts. We are going to stop infantilizing the American patient, the American people. We are going to get the facts on the table. We are going to get the NIH away from funding gain-of-function research that led to a pandemic that cost $25 trillion. We're going to get the NIH away from pharmaceutical R&D. They can do that themselves. We're going to get the NIH studying these foundational issues. We're going to get Americans the facts, and we're going to figure out pro-growth. We're going to bring out pro-innovation policies to solve this issue, because at the end of the day, this is about optimism. We are at an existential issue for children's health and health in America. And there's a lot of people in the media, there's a lot of people still in the country that do not understand that. We all know that. We are at an existential moment. We are going to get the facts and have an adult conversation with the American people, and if we can win that argument in the next 2 years, if we can win that argument, this existential argument, and this argument that the most powerful and the richest forces in the world will be trying to distract and divide us from having, we are going to change the world, and I know we can. This is a powerful, revolutionary coalition of people that are going to change American politics. Let's keep fighting. Thank you.